Welcome to this episode of Becoming the Sun with Jowita. Today, we're exploring the profound journey of overcoming loss from a spiritual perspective. As we navigate this universal yet deeply personal experience, we'll draw from the timeless wisdom of spiritual teachers and profound teachings. These insights will help us understand how loss can be a gateway to greater understanding and growth. Join me as we uncover how embracing these lessons can help us find light even in the darkest moments. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to start by sharing a bit of my own journey with loss. Over the last few years, my fiance Troy and I have faced the heartache of 2 miscarriages and the profound sorrow of losing 5 beloved pets within a short span. Each of these experiences brought a unique kind of pain and a different shade of grief, but they also helped open our hearts to deeper understandings and unexpected strength. It's my hope that by opening up about my own experiences, that we can find common ground and support each other in our healing journeys. Last week, Troy and I said goodbye to our beautiful cat, Gabby. She has been in my life since 2013. Prior to adopting her, I didn't really have an opinion of cats. I really didn't know them too well. I didn't understand them. Just as some people have the thought that cats are kind of boring and they're not as exciting as dogs, I learned very quickly that that is not the case, and that cats are so extremely loving and caring and peaceful and calm, and they radiate that out in order to help us become centered and grounded. She taught me so much throughout her life, and her departure has left me feeling obviously heartbroken, but also so grateful for everything that she taught us. I feel that sometimes loss can feel like a breaking point, but what if it's actually a portal to ascension? What if those who enter and exit our lives are fulfilling a soul contract, an agreement that we made before we incarnated that's designed to help us evolve? Today, I want to explore 5 profound spiritual truths about loss that can help us see beyond the pain. The first is the soul is eternal. Death is just a transition. Number 2, every being in our lives has a soul contract with us. Number 3, loss is a portal to transformation. Number 4, the nature of love is to be present and to let go at the same time. And number 5, those we lose are never truly gone, they live through us. Many spiritual teachers, including Ram Dass, Louise Hay, and Carolyn Myss, speak of life as a sacred classroom where every relationship, joy, and hardship is an opportunity for soul growth. From this lens, loss is not considered a punishment, but rather a soul contract, a pre-agreed experience that we chose before incarnation to evolve ourselves spiritually. And in these last several years, Troy and I, with losing 5 pets and navigating 2 miscarriages, this really cracked our hearts open. And it feels like with every situation that we go through that has involved loss, it not only brings us so much closer to our own divinity, but we also become so much stronger as a couple. I feel like there's a beautiful moment despite the pain, the beauty of coming together and the beauty of being vulnerable with one another and the beauty of our hearts cracking wide open only makes us stronger. And that's been something that's been very active for me as I reflect on each individual situation that we go through. And what has really helped us is viewing loss as a portal to expansion. While there is so much pain, The transformation that these losses have initiated has been palpable. And there are so many incredible spiritual teachers, including Ram Dass, Louise Hay, and Carolyn Myss, that have helped me reframe loss as a part of the soul's journey. And it has really left me with the question of, what if loss is not an end, but a doorway to deeper understanding? Let's explore these themes in depth. Number 1, loss as an illusion, the soul's eternal nature. Many spiritual traditions teach that death is not the opposite of life, it's simply a transition. Ram Dass teaches us we are all just walking each other home, and that life is a temporary human experience, but the soul continues. If you think of an analogy of a wave in the ocean, when the wave crashes, it does not disappear, it simply returns to the vastness of the sea. And just like when our physical vessel or the physical vessel of our loved ones or of a beloved pet no longer contains life, that soul within that body emerges into the vastness of Source, where we all come from. The essence of our loved ones remains with us in our hearts and even in the synchronicities or the signs that they leave behind, the little nudges that we sometimes feel, the warmth that we feel in our hearts, the angel numbers that we see. Those are all beautiful synchronicities from our loved ones on the other side. Number 2, soul contracts. Why certain beings enter and exit our lives. I feel that before we incarnate on this planet, we choose certain relationships and experiences to help us evolve. I believe that we pick our families, we pick where we want to live, we pick the challenges. Essentially, we choose the blueprint of our lives that will help us evolve our souls and will help us learn lessons that we need to learn for our own expansion. This includes pets, children, mentors, and especially those who challenge us. Everybody is our teacher. Animals in particular often come with specific vibrational roles to teach us unconditional love, patience, trust, and even acceptance of impermanence. Some souls agree to stay for a short period of time, but they make a profound impact on our lives. An example would be when I had my first miscarriage. I felt my entire world collapse on top of me. I could not make sense of what had happened. I remember going to many different doctors, spiritual teachers, psychics, trying to get an understanding, a spiritual understanding. And from my understanding, a miscarriage may be a soul that came only for a brief moment to teach surrender, to deepen love, or to shift one's life direction. In my situation, the miscarriages that I experienced definitely taught me to trust life and to acknowledge how miraculous of a gift providing life is. This really makes you ponder the question, what if every loss in our lives was a part of a sacred agreement to awaken something within us? Number 3, loss as a portal to expansion, the transformation hidden in grief. Carolyn Myss teaches us that grace enters through the cracks of our heartbreak. Loss shakes us awake. And instead of viewing loss as a punishment, we can see it as a spiritual initiation into deeper wisdom. Grief, when fully felt, can lead to expanded compassion, presence, and our connection to Source. I have found that it is extremely important to allow ourselves to honor the waves of grief. When Troy and I decided to help Gabby transition, what had happened to her was in December, she was diagnosed with diabetes. Troy and I had recognized that she had lost a significant amount of weight and she was appearing to be agitated. So we brought her to the vet, and it just took a simple blood test to determine that she is diabetic. And we immediately started her on insulin and began feeding her specific food that's designated to maintaining her glucose levels. And through that time, her symptoms had improved slightly. However, we were still struggling with bringing her glucose levels within a healthy range. She was always very, very high when we would test her blood glucose. And her behavior and her weight had improved and her behavior had improved. However, just a couple of months later, in March, we started noticing her having some issues with her hind legs. And she was kind of doing this like squat little walk. And when we addressed it to the vet, he had mentioned that she may be developing diabetic neuropathy, which is causing her to have the lameness in her hind legs. And he did say it was reversible, so we did a few adjustments. So we proceeded to adjust her insulin. However, unfortunately, the symptoms progressed, and within a couple of days, she was unable to walk entirely. Seeing her in the state that she was in, helpless and her body decaying in front of our eyes, was so unbelievably heart-wrenching. There was a profound memory, one of the final ones that we have of Gabby's suffering, where we were providing her some food to eat, and after she had finished eating, she tried to push herself up on her front legs and just remained on her wrists, and she began trying to walk on her wrists and on her ankles. And it was at that moment that Troy and I decided, we're not going to let her live like this. This is no quality of life. And although we were so hopeful that we could reverse her condition with her diabetes, when we had taken her to the vet and discussed this with her lovely veterinarian, we were informed that perhaps the diabetes was not the only cause, that there was something underlying that was causing such a decline in her health and such an increase in symptoms, which she had mentioned Cushing's disease, which we believe did play a role. And although we'll never really understand exactly why the symptoms happened the way they did, when we reflect on the loss and what it had taught us, just right off the bat, just the first thing it taught me to be in a routine with her, because I had to give her insulin twice a day, once at 5 a.m. and once at 5 p.m. So it taught me to be on a schedule and really to become cognizant of what Troy and I are putting into our bodies. Last time I had my blood checked last year, I remember the numbers showing that I was pre-diabetic. And then Gabby getting diabetes about a year later, for me to ignore Gabby getting diabetes and ignoring how that correlated to me having blood work the year prior and the blood work results showing that I was on the cusp of diabetes, really provided me a profound lesson on the importance of being cognizant of what we put into our bodies. And I feel that Gabby's story is one that I will never forget, and her legacy will live on through our lives because we will honor her by being mindful of what we consume and being mindful of how much of a gift it is to be able to be mobile. And seeing her in those final moments of not being able to move really made me realize the importance of continual gratitude and continually honoring ourselves and honoring our bodies, because once again, this is just a temporary vessel that we have the honor of embodying. Number 4, the sacred cycle of presence and release. Everything in life is impermanent. Flowers bloom and wither, rivers flow and dry, and even galaxies dissolve. From a Buddhist perspective, true love does not cling, it simply allows. And holding on to grief too tightly can close our heart. Instead, we can honor loss by keeping love open. The best way to honor those we've lost is to live more fully because of them. We can carry their lessons forward, and we can recognize that love is never confined to a body. Number 5, honoring those who have transitioned. They are still here. Wayne Dyer teaches us that energy never dies, it only transforms. And there are many ways that we can feel connected to those who have passed. Some of those ways are we can notice the synchronicities. Certain animals, songs, dreams can remind us of our loved ones, and we can carry forward their lessons and teachings. Even creating a sacred ritual to honor them, such as lighting a candle or setting an intention in their name. Just the other day, Gabby inspired Troy and I to donate her food and her toys to a local animal shelter. And just knowing that we're able to pass on that felt so good. Loss, from my experience, is a profound teacher, one that reshapes us in ways we never expect. While the pain of losing someone or something we love can be overwhelming, it also opens a doorway to deeper understanding, to resilience, to transformation, and to love. Love never truly dies, and that what we grieve is not an ending, but a shift into form. In moments of sorrow, may we remember to stay present, to honor our emotions, and to trust that healing unfolds in its own time. May we also hold close the truth that the love we share, the lessons we learn, and the souls we encounter on our path are never truly lost. They become a part of us forever. The best way to honor those who have passed is to love your life and to live your most radiant, open-hearted life. Loss has a way of reaching into the deepest parts of us, stirring emotions that we don't even have words for. It can leave us feeling untethered, searching for meaning, for comfort, for a way forward. But as we've explored today, loss is not just an end. It's a transformation. It's a transition that invites us into a greater understanding of love, presence, and the eternal nature of our souls. Ram Dass reminds us that we are not just these bodies, these temporary forms. We are souls walking each other home. And Rumi teaches us that the wound is where the light enters. Even in the depths of sorrow, there's an opening, an invitation to see life in a whole new way. Loss, as painful as it is, has the power to stretch our hearts wider, to deepen our capacity for love, for gratitude, and for presence. So if you are grieving, if you are missing someone or something that felt like home, know that you are not alone. Your pain is seen and your love is felt, and the energy of what you have lost still surrounds you. It lives on in those quiet moments, in the memories, and in the unspoken ways it has shaped you. Also remember that healing is not about forgetting, nor is it about rushing to move forward. It is about allowing yourself to be present with what is, to breathe through each moment, and to trust that in time, the love that you feel will reveal itself in new ways. Most of all, it is the knowing that you are held, that the universe, God, Source, whatever name speaks to you, is holding you in love, guiding you through this journey. Thank you for being here today and for allowing yourself to explore these thoughts and emotions with me. If this episode resonated with you, I invite you to share it with someone who might need to hear these words. And as we close, I leave you with this thought. The love we give, the love we receive, and the love that we carry within us, it never truly disappears. It simply changes shape, waiting for us to recognize it again. Until next time, please be gentle with yourself. Be kind to your heart, and always remember, even in the darkest moments, the light is never far away. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful day.